Game number 2 on the way. Let's get into picks and bans right about now and see how Rival are going to react. Like I said, I didn't really mind the composition. I am liking Vamana jungle more and more. I think there's a lot of burst damage, especially when you go the new age Crusher and the Heartseeker build. There's a lot there to be said. He does really well. No qualms about the draft. It was just about the builds. With that said, Tolly, do you want to see any changes to Rival's draft?
I think that they needed to focus out specific members a little better. They needed to gank maybe emilitoo on the Artemis, get him shut down, maybe get some Gold Furies under their belt to try to make the game last a little bit longer. But forcing a tier 1 tower at that stage was a little awkward because it was just a straight up 5-on-5. There was no advantages that Rival really had to make that play happen.
Well, right now, bans coming out, pretty standard stuff. NRG going to grab the Artemis first overall. No Athena, no Guan, no Sobek, no Thoth, says Rival. The answer will be Cerberus. I thought that was Gab for a second. No, we'll see the Cerberus be picked up by Team Rival. One more option on their side of the court.
They realized just how powerful that Cerberus really was out of maniaK's hands. Didn't want to deal with it again. And that matchup of the Cerberus against Amaterasu, it could go either way, but the way Deathwalker played it was he got his dash at level 3, which can silence out the Ghastly Breath, but by that point, he was already kind of staggered at the early laning phase. I would have liked to see him pick it up at level 2 instead, just to control the matchup.
I like the Susano pick here. The Cerberus will be able to group a bunch of people together, put them in one spot, and then Susano can grab them even further behind. I do like that synergy. However, the Circuit and the Yana selection for NRG's Adapting and Yammyn, respectively, will just be scary. A lot of X's and O's in here. In fact, X will bring a Wlfy, but the O's sound more like, oh no. When you're going up against NRG with the likes of Yammyn and Adapting on those picks, I mean, this is just a rough stop.
I'm surprised Giannis went through that late, considering that Wlfy also likes the Giannis, just kind of waiting for his pick. I'm expecting potentially a Discordia. Maybe we're going to see NRG ban away the Isis, or maybe Discordia and Wlfy will get the either.
Poseidon going to be banned out by NRG, another strike towards Wlfy's God Pool. 2 warriors banned out by Rival. I want to see another Wlfy ban here, in all honesty. Rah. Thank you very much. Rival now, likely to go Discordia in that position, I believe. We'll see where Wlfy winds up playing. But for now, we certainly need a mid laner, and we need a support, and it's going to be Geb.
I'm surprised the Ra was banned, considering NRG have Circuit. It's an immobile god with a lot of movement speed, sure, but doesn't have a gap closer, so can't really get away from the Circuit. Prevents a lot of that healing, but instead really worried about that burst combination with Susanoo. The Vamana Ra doesn't work, but the Susanoo Ra certainly can.
Achilles for NRG. And Achilles will wind up likely in that solo lane with Terra in the support role for EmilZy. That's what I'm expecting. Should be pretty cut and dry, I think, for the guys on NRG.
So NRG with their 4th and 5th pick of Achilles, Terra. Normally these are like first ban, first pick worthy gods. Meta in summer be damned, because there is no meta. Everyone's still kind of doing their own thing and their own identity, and I love to see this kind of fireworks between these two teams.
Discordia going to bring some chaos of her own here for Team Rival. So pretty cut and dry as far as the bans and the picks are concerned, rather. Where are you feeling, Toli? Who do you think is a little bit more powerful?
I like the mobility between the Giannis. It didn't really work out for Rivals Amaterasu, unfortunately for Deathwalker. They got out-controlled. But with the Geb, Susanoo, Cerberus, more control than the last game. They need to get to the late game for Votes Xbalanque to pop off.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Rivals draft, they've got this sort of mid-game synergy with Susanoo and Discordia, and then the late-game Discordia becomes even more powerful, and that's where Xbalanque turns on. NRG on this side of the screen. Well, the Artemis and the Circuit are going to be fantastic come the late game. Giannis does things pretty much all throughout the game. And Achilles, more of that early to mid-game monster, so a nice little handoff there for the guys on NRG. One word, who wins?
It's going to be EmilZy on the Terra.
That's a whole bunch of words. So let's get into a whole bunch of action. Finch and Aggro, bring us the game.
Well, it's time for game 2 here between NRG and Rival. And you got to be feeling good when you already have Giannis Circuit, and then you get to last pick the Achilles Terra, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah, 8th, 9th picks in this draft, Achilles and Terra seems good. Seems pretty solid. I think NRG got away with murder in this draft again. very, very surprised they were able to get those 2 picks that late in the draft.
Well, who all do you think is going to win? Did that draft by NRG sell ya, or do you like what Rival have going here in Game 2? Rival need this win if you want to keep this best of 3 going, Ryan. It's kind of make or break.
It's not even just this best of 3. This would break the cycle. This would be the first time that NRG has beaten Rival in a best of 3 in who knows how long, a year plus, something like that. This is a long time coming for NRG if they could find the victory.
Right.
In this streak for Rival, there have been a lot of times where NRG goes up by 1 game or even more.
Already trouble though. Collis gets caught out and deleted. It's 5 members of NRG here in the duo lane. That nets them first blood. Collis already had to take a trip back to base.
That's one of those where Collis is like, I probably shouldn't have been there, but why are there 5 people here, team? Anyone? Hello?
I mean, to be fair, I mean, how far was Collis from his tower, really?
Not that far.
I mean,
4 steps. Not that far.
You just never expect that to happen, right? And I love this play. We've been seeing it a little bit, not all the time, but the solo leaders can come try and influence duo early and teleport back to their lane before they miss anything. That's what maniaK has done here on this Achilles. I love when we get to see those early rotations.
I mean, it's probably not going to be 3 minutes before maniaK needs a teleport anyways. He's up against a Cerberus who's not going to push him out regardless. So it completely, totally fine using your relic in that situation. Only way this goes poorly for maniaK now is if iceicebaby comes over to that side of the map and starts putting pressure on him very, very early. But that being said, I mean, he already has 6 stacks on that Warrior's Blessing because of that kill on the left, and the assist, I should say, on the left. So he's going to be able to evolve that Warrior's Blessing very, very early on. That will give him even more tankiness in this lane.
NRG now, slim favorites over Rival, so a bit of a turn. I believe it was 60 to 40
yes.
in Rival's favor. Now it's been a 13% swing back in the other direction. So NRG winning over some people at home after that game 1 and with their draft. Deathwalker in a lot of trouble. He does not have the leaf available, so there's nowhere for him to go. Adapting with the early rotation puts him down. 1-0-1 now for maniaK.
That is brutal in the solo lane now because giving an Achilles a lead, and someone like maniaK specifically who pushes leads very, very, very well. Solo lane is one of the ones that's very easy to tell the play style, it seems like.
Right.
Then there are a lot of varied play styles among SPL level solo laners. You know, Scary D, finalK, those are the dudes who are going to make incredible plays in the team fighting phase and make, you know, really outplay you there. Divios as well will make these really heads up sort of rotations and builds and plays that'll wow you. And then there are guys like maniaK who are just going to run at you and say, do something about it. And you can't, because they play so well around that playstyle. They pick gods that fit that playstyle, and they really set up a lot for their team. maniaK is very flexible. That's what we saw from the Cerberus in the last game.
No.
But this is not what you want to see when you're up against an Achilles, especially of maniaK's caliber.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Deathwalker spent that whole speech you just gave walking back to lane because he doesn't have a teleport.
And that was a long speech, too.
And he's going to do it again. I hope you have another one because it's another long walk back for Deathwalker to the lane. He's missing out on so much farm. Adapting has made 2 rotations, netting 2 kills on this Cerberus.
And this is one of the few instances where Deathwalker likely wishes he would have picked up a teleport. We talked about it game 1, how he doesn't really like that pickup and prefers to go for meditation or sprint. This is where one option where he probably wishes he had that TP.
What is this NRG drinking Michael's secret stuff from Space Jam? I mean, NRG came in ready to play today, kind of put into vote here in the dual lane as well. They are on fire here so far. It is a rotation, though, perhaps, from iceice in the jungle. Looks as if Yammyn may have called that one out. We saw the pings on the map, and almost immediately NRG retreat from the dual lane, just come back and grab their own red buff. Meanwhile, I don't know if Deathwalker is ever going to get to see that blue buff.
Probably not at this point in the game. He's going to need iceicebaby's help and for something to be happening on the left-hand side of the map, because even with the 2v2, Susano not very good in the early game, as is, kind of a mid-game monster. Right now, it's Adapting and maniaK have free reign on that right side of the map at this point. Their gods are better at this point in the game, and they've got massive leads.
Now going to come back and grab his own blue buff here is maniaK, as Deathwalker has had to use that meditation already as soon as it came back up off cooldown. 3.5 minutes in, it's a 1,500 gold lead, right about 1,000, 1,300 experience difference. NRG off just a couple picks and some buff invades have already put themselves in a very, very good spot here early.
And this is where NRG can be at their best, where they're utilizing their teamwork. They team fight particularly well, but they really run pick compositions very well. That's kind of how they got their start basically was just giving adapting gods like Serket and Thor, give Yammyn the Chirons and the Neaths and the Giannis's, and let them just make plays around the entire map. And NRG is so good at that everyone on Rival has to be on high alert now, because Yammyn can back, finish off his boots, get his next items going, and now deliver himself and whoever needs to be there to any lane at any given time. Rival's just going to have to be on the back foot for the next few minutes, really.
Adapting, lurking here in the jungle, but Deathwalker so far into tower, not even really going to be able to find any pick. You talked about how already a good start for NRG and how this is going to work to their play style. It used to be kind of NRG of old where it felt like they would just farm better than you for like 17 minutes, then they'd group up and start taking your stuff. That's kind of like how NRG used to play. Well, if that old style's still in there, this is even better, because now they're ahead from the beginning, and they're usually just better at farming than you, and are pretty good when they group up too. This could potentially spell problems for Rival, because it's not like they're sitting on a big sustain comp, waiting for late game fights this time. They're just straight up against NRG here, and coming out a little bit less.
Oh, maniaK in some trouble. Has to use Fatal Strike to get away. And emilZy used his Earthen Fury, so iceicebaby chases out 2 really high-impact ultimates in trade for his ult. And that's good for Rival, but the fact that NRG just got blue buff again and XP camp again on that right-hand side is not as good for them.
Yeah, there's really not a way for Rival to try and punish them for using those ultimates. I mean, what do they force NRG to fight over at this point, or where do they aggress?
Right.
So NRG can kind of expend those, take the blue buff, and just leave, as Vote does drop his own ultimate. Just trying to maybe help out with Deathwalker here against maniaK, as maniaK is quite low. Deathwalker doesn't really have kill potential without the ult, but I think iceice might. Adapting is here as well. He actually blinks past him and does finally slow maniaK down a little bit. Adapting drops the ultimate on the iceice, but no way to win the 1v2.
Oh, Wlfy really, really low now, but Geb Shield was good for the moment, not good enough to save his life. emilZy uses the shell just in case that Unruly Magic was going to use something wonky there and finish off ML. Good rotation in from emilitoo on that left side. Vote was stuck clearing the wave still all the way in dual lane, so wasn't able to come in and help out that team fight whatsoever. Some
gross damage from Yammyn. He didn't even rush Soul Reaver, just getting it done with the Giannis. Wlfy, on the other hand, did make that selection. I know that it's one that you're personally very fond of, Ryan, when you start that way. But Discordia going to try and make benefit of it, perhaps along with her passive for a little bit of extra power. If it is her that has it, could perhaps be Deathwalker over in the solo lane, since they do trade so much.
Yeah, it's just, I don't like it for the way that it affects your power curve. I just think that going for another item in that slot is usually a little bit better. It's more, to me, it feels more about the start that Discordia often wants to go for. Not a particularly mana-hungry character, so it can get away without the Mage's Blessing in the early game, and instead just rush that Soul Trap, get it your next item as fast as possible. And I guess that a lot of mid laners right now are feeling like Book of Thoth is a little bit too low impact to go first item.
Sure.
I don't know that I agree with that, but that seems to be the prevailing theory right now, is that just getting Soul Reaver is just better.
iceice makes the rotation towards maniaK again. This time with the Darkest of Nights to help out, and emilZy and Adapting are waiting in tow. Deathwalker's going to come out to check the blue buff. Not going to land the Cobra's Kiss. iceice does want to try and help them not take this blue, but nothing that Rival can do. I feel like Deathwalker has seen none of those yet.
No, I don't think he's seen a single one, but that's the danger of picking a Guardian in the solo lane. That being said, though, I mean, check out everything about Deathwalker right now. He's not that far down. I mean, close enough in XP. He's down, but the same level overall, so not more than half a level or so behind. Net worth, he's down about 400 gold, but that's not that bad, considering he hasn't gotten a blue or an XP camp quite yet. It's not so bad.
Through Space and Time does hit as Adapting has to use the bead, so he does not get hit by the Cataclysm. He wants to jump in, but iceice drops down the Typhoon. Yammyn comes through the portal. They don't have quite enough damage or cooldowns to get this kill, as emilZy is going to continue to chase Wlfy, who drops the ultimate. Apple does pop, but it's not enough. emilZy just barely surviving. Now maniaK wants to go for the execute, finds on a Wlfy, gets the kill.
maniaK could go for more, but instead decides to back it up. Deathwalker still chasing, has a Stygian Torment, brings maniaK back, but needs a little bit more support if he wants to find this kill. emilZy's a support, but it's for NRG, and that'll make sure that maniaK's out of there.
somehow gets out of that one scot-free, does maniaK. Goes back in on a Wlfy, finds the execute, and the Stygian Torment comes out from Deathwalker, but the rest of Rival had kind of given up on that play. They were low, they backed, so even when he brought him back in, there wasn't the immediate follow-up. Paralyzing Spit was not enough on its own, and then a great play from emilZy with the stun means that maniaK can kind of just walk away.
And there isn't that much of a difference between adapting and iceicebaby either. I was just touching on the differences between Deathwalker and maniaK with the lead that NRG has gotten themselves on the right. iceice is still doing very relevant damage at this point in the game. Saw quite a bit of it there onto adapting, nearly brought him down just by himself, it felt like. So NRG's in a commanding lead, yes, but it's certainly not over, or it's one that Rival can't fight into whatsoever.
Well, blue buff is up, so that means all of NRG are rotating over to strip that away from Deathwalker yet again. And that's why it doesn't seem like it's that big of a lead. They're whittling away at Team Rival here by repeatedly stealing away their experience and pulling the attention over to this side of the map. emilitoo has not really had anything to worry about over here in dual lane. He's just chilling 2-0-0, a little bit ahead of Vote, yes, and kind of just having a good time. There's been no pressure on him.
That's huge for an Artemis to, in the early game, to be able to escape with this little pressure onto her thus far. I mean, Susano is a great killer of Artemis because he's got so much mobility in comparison to how little Artemis has in her kit, that pulling iceicebaby to the right side of the map has worked wonders so far.
Now could be trouble for Vote. The Unstable Vortex does hit, and Ambush comes in. He drops the ultimate, but Last Breath does not care if he cannot see. One more in-hand gets it done. Now iceice was trying to return the favor on adapting, and he does have really good damage. Drops the Typhoon, but the board means that emilitoo might have a chance to trade this back out, and he does. iceice falls as well. 2 for 1 in favor of NRG.
Man, that team coordination, a thing of beauty there from NRG. Kalos rooted in place. Earth and Fury does a pretty good chunk of damage. Wlfy tries to throw the ultimate to peel, but emilZy again steps up in front. Now Wlfy gets punished for it. 9 kills in total for NRG. And what a game emilZy has had so far on this Terra. That's twice now where Wlfy's trying to hit someone else with the ultimate, and emilZy goes, "Thank you very much. I've been craving an apple recently." He takes it and makes sure that no one else from NRG is in any sort of danger whatsoever.
It's a Gold Fury now for NRG, but to give more credit to emilZy, he played excellently on the Sobek. It's been an excellent set from him so far up against Team Rival, and it really hasn't making a tremendous difference for them. He's been either setting up for his team, or when his team aggresses, they know they can rely on emilZy to provide that little bit more peel that they need to make it back out. Yes, they end up dropping adapting there. I believe that was the one in the 4-for-1 trade there, but Yammyn comes over to help them find a kill. A great rotation from emilitoo as well, and of course, this blue buff, which belongs to maniaK, I think that is his name, hovering over the camp there. I mean, NRG just continuing to put it to Team Rival.
I mean, and remember, last week NRG lost to Obey, and you know that they didn't feel particularly good about that, as adapting's in some trouble, but Wind Siphon's already been used. iceice dashes forward and immediately gets crushed by some walls by emilZy. Surprise, surprise. Look, NRG lost to Obey, and emilZy, if I remember correctly, was not happy with his performance on Twitter. He was saying that he felt like he underperformed pretty heavily, and that he was going to try and refocus, and that's what the good players do. They take their bad sets and understand that those happen to the best of players in the entire world. You're going to have bad showings and bad sets, and that's just part of being a professional player in any sport or esport. You just got to use that as motivation to turn it around and do better the next week, and I think we've seen quite a bit of that here from emilZy. He's been very impressive today.
Yeah, they look so strong, and they might have to be careful as Team Rival are in the jungle. iceice is here. Ambush from Adapt. He wants to chase. And it is going to be maniaK that goes to cut off the escape path. Darkest of Nights is dropped. Kile is going to proc, but Adapting is not done chasing. Cobra's Kiss just barely out of range. But Last Breath right to the through space in time. That's nuts. You've got to be kidding me as Adapting takes down iceicebaby. I don't believe it.
Come on. That's just silly.
I don't believe it.
That's not fair. maniaK gonna find the stun on a Deathwalker. Galos' ultimate is pretty good, and emilZy eats another apple. Won't be seeing a doctor anytime soon with how many he's had this game, but still okay with the heal from Earth and Fury there. That's the second time that Yammyn and Adapting have combined to do something stupid good. I mean, there was a through space in time. Remember earlier, Vote gets hit by both hits of Unstable Vortex because of when Adapting comes in and uses the Cobra's Kiss at the exact moment that even when the freebies didn't matter, that it locked Vote in place for half a second. Can you tell that Yammyn and Adapting have played together for a long time? And also are a little bit lucky?
If you had Some of that, yes, because that play was absurd. But I mean, clearly, that's one of those plays that you're intending for it. But even with the best intentions and mechanics, you don't always get that. But adapting, perfect timing sets it up for Yammyn to get in the extra damage they need. This is what NRG looks like, and I know this is a very different squad from the two-time world champs with maniaK and EmilZy on here. But this is what they looked like. They looked like you just couldn't touch them. They looked like they had better coordination than anybody else. And NRG showing flashes of that here now.
And this is the team that they're playing up against, a team that kind of took that title from them, right?
Yeah.
Everyone always talks about how amazing Rivals' teamwork is and how well they work together, and they're right in saying all of those things. But NRG was the original in that sense. And I think that's a great point to bring up, because Rival really did take NRG's identity in almost every way. That they were versatile. NRG would be able to just beat you up in the early game, kind of like what we've seen so far here, or out-farm you, as you mentioned earlier, as iceicebaby again eats another last breath, gonna try and turn it around onto adapting, and that's good damage. Kalos is there to finish it off, as Rival do get a kill in response, and iceice able to survive. Rival took that kind of identity from NRG, where they were versatile, they could out-team fight you, out-farm you, out-fight you in the early game, whatever it may be. In NRG is just going back to their old selves, playing picks that you know they can play. maniaK's on a pressure warrior that beats you up in the early game and then just stands in front of you in the late. Check. Adapting's on a hyper carry jungler that likes to dominate, particularly in the early game. Check. Emil on a great late game hunter. Yammyn on a versatile utility mage that also makes look like the best burst mage in the game. Their support player is on a great team fighter that can save them all the time. This is the NRG style, and it doesn't matter who's there or what the picks are. These are the style of picks that NRG excels with, and it's no surprise to see them do this well with them.
They've been doing excellently so far. It's certainly not over just yet, but the wind, you can kind of just tell with that play in solo lane which way it's blowing at this point. I mean, NRG, it kind of just feels like all the chips are falling their way. Now, Rival are down by about 5,000 or so gold here at this point, so it is tough to fight into, but certainly not impossible. You saw when adapting overreached in mid lane, iceice was able to help punish with that Susano. It's kind of one of those things Susano does, all the control he provides. They're going to need for NRG to overstep a little bit more so Rival can kind of even this one out.
That's the right way to word it, too. It's not that Rival can just sit on their hands and wait and let NRG do whatever and then try and come back. NRG kind of needs to make at least one more mistake, in my mind, for Rival to have a chance to come back in this game. But Rival, I was talking about how they stole a lot of their identities from NRG. In one of the ones that I think both these teams have exhibited, but Rival has really taken it to another level, is they hang around so long that you will eventually make a mistake. And it doesn't matter who the you in this situation is. The best teams in the world, Dignitas, NRG, these guys have made other teams like that make so many mistakes that I don't think you could ever count Team Rival out of any game, no matter how much gold they are down. They've done it too many times now. I will never call this team dead.
Team Rival grouping around the Gold Fury in response to NRG. Trap does catch out Kalos, but no shots are able to land. Wlfy is going to put some damage to EmilZy as Cataclysm lands along with the Apple. A lot committed now onto the Terra, who drops the Earth and Fury. Couple in-hands coming from Vote, but he's been stunned out as well. Through space and time comes through, and emilitoo is able to find iceicebaby. Now maniaK takes down Wlfy. Kalos in a little bit of trouble as his Vote execute comes out from maniaK. Double kill for the solo laner as emilitoo takes down Kalos. What looked like EmilZy overstepping has turned into a 4-for-0 for NRG, and the Gold Fury team Rival just could not hang.
My goodness, what a team fight from NRG. And this doesn't that remind you of NRG of old when Rapper does something just stupid? Why is EmilZy that far forward when no one else is near him? Because he'll just make you miss 4 abilities, walk you into Yammyn's truck of a through space and time that come tearing through the team fight, and he'll survive, by the way. Preposterous.
Now, Deathwalker a chance to try and disrupt this Fire Giant, which feels like a little bit too much, but Deathwalker takes too much damage. The slow is going to land. emilitoo finds the shots. Deathwalker's now done, but he's done his job. NRG could not get the Fire Giant, so they get that, what would have made the full DSI, that 5th kill eventually, go back to base, take their Gold Fury, but they cannot get the Fire Giant.
That's impressive in its own right from Deathwalker. Walking in and dying doesn't seem like it at all, but you have to understand your position in the game. Deathwalker's level 14, dude. He's not doing anything from here on out for the next few, 5 or 6 minutes. May as well just throw your life away to try and save your team from going down an exorbitant amount of gold. I mean, it's already nearly 10K at this point. Force energy off the objective. He's dead for it every time, but Deathwalker does his job.
You're dead on, though, when you say this feels like old energy, when it feels like everything's just kind of going their way, when their coordination's just too high level. Even when you're doing the right things, you just can't punish this energy squad. No one from Team Rival around. Not true. Ice is actually here, has the ultimate available, but gets interrupted, cannot cast it. Energy grab it, and now they want to punish Ice as well, who has just used the Typhoon, adapting, almost certainly should be able to catch him here. He does have the blink, but not in time. Cobra's Kiss just too good.
That was almost there for iceicebaby. Nearly got out of combat long enough to blink past adapting, but adapting had plenty of mobility, a blink of his own, and a last breath.
But that's what I'm talking about. The millisecond that Blink would have come out of combat is when Cobra's Kiss is in range. That's when energy feels unbeatable. Like when Golden State and everyone's threes are dropping. You can't do anything about it. Now Phoenix on the right-hand side is crumbling down. Collis does get stunned. Maniac is here. Earth and Fury is here. Cataclysm stuns out everyone, and the Apple's going to come out to force them back. So energy don't get any more kills, but that is their Phoenix.
Now, on the left side, Vote did get a tier 2 for himself and for the rest of Team Rival. No towers left standing on the left side of the map now. So at least Team Rival gets something in their favor, and they needed something. They need more than that at this point if they're coming back in this one. Energy really coming out. And this doesn't really surprise me. I mean, I picked Rival to win this game on Esports Weekly because, as I said on the desk, I won't pick Energy until they actually beat Rival in a best of 3. And Rival has earned that through their play. But this doesn't really surprise me at all because Energy is a team historically that when they lose games that they shouldn't, not even sets, but just games that they shouldn't, how often have we seen them drop a game to a bad team and then just raffle stomp them?
Like
in the
even
next game?
Dignitas or someone, right? If they're the next set, it's just bad news.
Yeah, there are teams that go on tilt in a bad way. Energy tilts in a good way a lot of the time, where they Super Saiyan power up, they get angry, and then they beat the hell out of whoever they see next. And Rival is just kind of next on the list after the rough week 1 for Energy.
Now the tier 2 towers in duo and in solo obviously are down as they got the Phoenix in solo. Tier 1 in mid is taken as well, and now they're grouping up for the tier 2, and it looks like Rival don't want to give up this tier 2 for free. I mean, how do you feel about this call to fight on it?
Where can you fight if you're a Rival right now? Maybe try and bait Energy into a bad fight because it's only a tier 2. We don't have to think as much about this Phoenix as we would about a Phoenix Siege. I don't hate it. I just don't think Rival's got any potential ground that feels particularly good right now. It doesn't hurt them that much.
Maniac blinks in. Icebaby's the target. Unstable Vortex just barely clips him, and Ice has to retreat. Deathwalker takes a lot of shots as well as Maniac and EmilZy are there. Adapting, hunts down Ice. Huge stun lands, and Deathwalker's going to be the next target, but no one else with damage is nearby. Collis trying to retreat, but he is also slowed, and Maniac is able to find the shots to take him down as well. Energy went mid-Phoenix now.
And honestly, that was not that bad for Rival. They got a lot of members very, very low. It's just when you're down by this much gold at 21 minutes, it's going to be nearly impossible to win a team fight unless the opposition really makes a bad play, or you've got a god like Thoth or Giannis and you hit every carry with one ult. And Rival just doesn't have that in Discordia. Discordia is a really great team fighter, but not your I'm going to insta-kill 2 squishies at the same time sort of team fighter.
Wish I could tell you that this 16,000 gold lead wasn't relevant, Ryan, but unfortunately we're only 22 minutes into the game. So Rival are kind of feeling every penny of that one. No one 6-slotted just yet. Only a few people really level 20. The experience lead is still very much relevant too. I mean, this is getting to the point where it's going to be very difficult for Rival, but you mentioned it. We saw some of the signs of life from them in that defense on the tier 2 tower. They just need a little bit more. I mean, the portal from Yammyn to get Maniac out was great there towards the end. They just need a little bit more lockdown, a little bit more damage, and they could have stopped that push.
And Rival's team fight is just objectively better with the picks that they have than Energy. I mean, you can go just across the line in every single god, and the only one that even has an argument in my mind to being better than their opposition is either of the duo lane members, EmilZy or emilitoo. Terra's got the best team fight ultimate in the game, but Geb has one of the best as well, plus he's got a shield. Those are pretty close together. Artemis has a really great team fighting ultimate at times, but also can get jumped on and obliterated pretty easily. Vote's got a great team fighting ultimate and is just guaranteeing damage throughout the entire team fight. Outside of that, Rival has the better team fight gods without a doubt in my mind. but they have to get to the point where they are not just even is far too much to ask at this point, it feels like, but just within shouting distance of NRG in terms of golden experience, and it isn't really even that close right now. I mean, maniaK is full build, and Deathwalker has 4 items, 3 of which in boots, Voidstone, and Jade Emperor's Crown are really, really cheap because he just needed effective items as fast as possible. Those aren't high-impact items necessarily. They're just there because he needs something as quickly as possible.
I'm sure you're seeing all those crits popping up right there, Ryan. emilitoo just getting everything to kind of roll his way right now. I mean, it's going to happen that same way in the team fights, I imagine, as he's second only right now to maniaK in terms of player damage. He has been unchecked in these fights. 7-0-4 now on this Artemis pick, and you talked about how big that boar is. Even without the boar, just when their setup coming out from either emilZy or maniaK are adapting, he is finding those shots and helping to get the squad to where they are right now.
And Emil does have the fully stacked Rage in that 3rd item slot. The R-Kill build is what I'm calling this one, because he goes for crit and chin size. Usually a big no-no. Not a huge fan, but he's so far ahead, does it really matter?
Vote's already been the target. It was maniaK that jumped on him on the backside, adapting, puts the poison onto Ice, and just barely the ultimate from Yammyn does not land. maniaK's gone pretty far here. Stygian Torment is going to be enough. Deathwalker has brought down the solo laner, but NRG have brought down the Phoenix on the right-hand side. NRG can now regroup and try and push left if they'd like.
Yammyn just barely misses onto iceicebaby, and I believe that was through Darkest of Night, so I don't think Yammyn could see where iceicebaby was during that through space and time. The only reason that Rival are still standing, most likely, because if Ice falls there, that's an easy left side Phoenix siege, even without maniaK. As it stands, though, Rival's able to stop the advancements for a moment and just kind of wait it out a little bit longer, try and get some of those priority items back. I mean, Wlfy working towards what could be a Book of the Dead or a Book of Thoth. Doubt it'll be a Polynomicon. iceicebaby finished off his Brawler's Beatstick. That's really critical because that healing coming out of emilZy's ultimate is proven to be really, really difficult for Rival to handle.
We talked about it, though, but this is Rival's big team fight kind of coming to fruition for them. And maniaK going a little bit too far into the backside, trying to be that initiator for them with the blink. But Rival are able to punish it. The ultimate from Vote, the Darkest Night, is just too strong. Geb able to help keep maniaK's target alive on the backside with the Geb Shield, Shockwave, Cataclysm. I mean, Team Rival, if they can fight around an objective for a little bit longer, I mean, it's not too absurd to say they can find a way back into this.
Yeah, it's the team fighting prowess of their draft that I was mentioning earlier. They have an excellent team fighting composition. It's just that they were really far behind. Check out maniaK with the Talisman of Energy. Deathwalker went for this last game as his first item, but this time we're seeing it late here for maniaK. I love this item in situations like this because you're constantly killing full minion waves near one another. You can spread out that passive very, very easily. Love it.
Deathwalker goes in for the Stygian Torment, does force some cooldowns, but he goes into the portal to the Unstable Vortex and has to jump away. maniaK again is on the backside, adapting there with him, and iceicebaby already falls. Everybody on Team Rival are low and have to retreat. maniaK goes for the execute in the fountain, a little bit too eager there and cannot find it, but Phoenix in mid lane does fall down, even laughing a little bit as they come towards left Phoenix. Only 4 members of Rival to defend.
Man, I don't know how many Yammyn hit with that ultimate, 2, 3, 4 potentially even. That team fight was looking fine for Rival. They had done enough damage. Deathwalker escaped, and then everyone was almost dead because of one shot from Yammyn. He's played great so far.
Wlfy gets some damage onto adapting, but NRG still 5 members strong, waiting on the minions to start pouring in so they can try and take down Team Rival. emilZy is the one that goes in. He does find the root. The response does come out from Cataclysm onto Collis. Deathwalker's low, but the Titan is the one that's the real target. It's below 30% HP. Rival cannot defend this. NRG 2-0 Team Rival here in week 2, and they look really good doing it.
They finally did it. That has to be, that must be one of the best feelings for NRG since winning a world championship, because this has been a monkey on their back for a long time, that they just couldn't beat Team Rival. Didn't matter if it was LAN or online. This team really gave them a lot of trouble, and this has got to feel very, very good for them. This has been a challenge for them for a while now.
And this is unusual, but I feel like this might be a time where picks and bans might not have been the best for Rival, especially in Game 1, where I know that they had their plan going in, but NRG, it looked like they were just a step ahead to me. And what about you all? How did it look to you? Who was your MVP in that game? Go ahead and vote for us in the polls.
And I think that really does speak to how this series has gone for the last few weeks, months, years.
Sure.
Is that Rival probably felt like look, this might not be our best draft, but we just win these games. You know, whatever happens, and we'll just win anyways because we historically have.
Sure.
This is the case where they didn't, and NRG punished them very nicely for it.
NRG kind of looked like old NRG here in this set, and nothing scarier if you're in Europe than NRG looking like old NRG, but we had a heck of a game too, a heck of a set. Let's have the desk break that down.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, boys. Just getting myself in order. Usually we have more time to get ready. I take, you know, a little bit of time to get my headset right, my glasses right, my tie and everything. Total gameplay under 50 minutes, unheard of in Season 5. Shoutouts to NRG to really bring it to Team Rival. As Ryan said, they've been searching for this victory for a long time, and they finally grab it.
They break the curse. Spring split. It was Rival getting the better end with 2-1 victories in weeks 1 and 6. Worlds at semis. Rival winning that one. It's about time that NRG found a set win against Rival so they can get that monkey off of their back. And they had to start it off with the way they grouped up as 5 to be able to pick off Callus in that duo lane. They just came out strong. All of them grouped up. EmilZy so patient by holding his Terra stun wall to also just kind of bait out Callus. Couldn't really walk, and then finally the stun just to seal the deal. Gave emilitoo the first blood, and as an Artemis, that's what you really want to do.
EmilZy on the Terra has been a terror for a long time. Here, the man picks up most valuable player as well. The support has looked really strong. Been a nice addition to NRG here. They started off things quickly in Season 5 and then kind of slowed down, but now are picking up steam one more time.
It's so difficult to really predict where some of these picks and bans are going to go. Terra was 9th pick overall. Last pick for NRG. Just goes to show that teams aren't still really comfortable with picks or bans because a lot of teams would not even allow Terra to go through, let alone let it get that late in the draft.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes down to emilZy specifically, you just can't let him have the Terra. The character is powerful in her own right, but I think emilZy specifically really brings the pain with this guy.
It's all about the way he delays the stunt because he'll use that top wall to just path block you before he'll finally collapse it because when you're still in between the walls, it'll provide a little bit of a slowing minefield, so you're stuck in the glue and then you're stunned as well. A lot of just synergy with NRG's draft. On top of just the Terra, you got the mobility for Yammyn on the Giannis, which actually allowed a crazy good aggressive play where adapting goes in on one iceicebaby. He sacrifices himself because the rest of his team comes up to clean up. It was a 4-for-1. NRG get Gold Fury after that. They transition to the Fire Giant where maniaK had to sacrifice his life to prevent that Fire Giant, making it a delayed deicide. NRG was just rolling on all cylinders.
Yeah, again, I got to bring up the time, how quickly this team did it. Game number 1 was about 22, 23 minutes. Game number 2 wound up being about 27, right? I mean, this one was really clean by NRG, and that's how you beat out the healer meta, right? Even if you don't have a healer, this is the way that you tackle the late game meta that we've seen a lot of teams embrace.
And it's not just the late draft Terra, whether it's going to be the healer or not. You're using it for the control, but also the aggression between maniaK's Achilles that went 8th pick overall. This was a difference of style where game number 1, it was Cerberus versus Amaterasu, which was a passive matchup, but this time the Cerberus got abused by the aggressive Achilles. NRG should not be allowed Achilles anymore.
NRG finally take down their arch nemesis, Team Rival, after many weeks of trying and in spectacular fashion. Stay tuned, though. We're traveling over to North America. United will be on the board. We'll be right back.
to roll up and out. See you from afar, got my thoughts in the sky. Where we used to kiss, sunshine, shit, and why you gotta